Shalom. How to say the Creator's name in the original language of Hebrew. And how do I look at that as someone who took biblical Hebrew as part of my college degree? First off, I'm completely aware of the more ancient Paleo Hebrew and even the pictographic Hebrew in the background and the more modern Hebrew letters on my hoodie. I'm very analytical on these types of things. I'm not a native speaker of the Hebrew language, and I don't believe it's a big deal about the various different letters of the alphabet that have been used over time. I don't believe that changes much. And as far as being native Hebrew speaking, I don't think that matters as much when it comes to the Creator's name, because first of all, they hid it, the native Hebrew speaking people hid it from them own selves, and I believe lost it because they did such a good job of hiding and building a fence around the name by not speaking it for such a long time, so that even modern Hebrew speakers, I value their opinion, but I don't believe that necessarily matters when it comes to an expert analysis of how to be able to pronounce it properly. So how do we pronounce it? Well, the first two letters, Yod, He, is a shortened form of the pronunciation of his name, and it is pronounced Yah. I've not seen anybody that disagrees about that, even from those who may say Yehovah, Yehovah, instead of Yahovah. Everyone agrees the shortened form, from what I've heard, is Yah. So what else? Well, actually, many Hebrew names of the prophets and kings and maybe prime ministers have attached the name of Yah to their own name. And so we can analyze those names and we'll get the next letter for a total of the first three letters. And the easiest, most modern day example is Benjamin Netanyahu. And we can look at that name and see that the first three letters are pronounced Yahoo. Regardless if people want to mock or make fun of that, that is what it is in modern times. Other names that had that was Isaiah was Yeshayahu, Jeremiah was Yeremyahu, and on it goes, and so on and so forth. And I believe that Netanyahu means gift of Yah. So where do we go from there? Now we have the first three letters, Yahoo. What could the last letter, He or Ah, how could that be pronounced? Perhaps Yahuwah, Yahuwah, Yahuwah. And that is how you pronounce the Creator's name in Hebrew. So then we go to Messiah's name, and Messiah's name literally means Yah saves, or Yah is salvation. So how might we pronounce his name? And so Messiah's name is one example of many that instead of Netanyahu, the name, first three letters being at the end of their name, other prophets and kings and priests put Yahoo at the front of their names, such as Yahunathan, Yahukanan, Yahunadab. So Messiah was Yahushua. And that's not just some modern anglicized thing, work of man, because we have plenty of evidence of that. So considering that his name means Yah is salvation, or Yah saves, salvation in Hebrew is Shua. And we do know it is a Shua name, not a Shah name. So we come up with Yahu Shua. Yah saves. Not Yahusha, but Yahushua. And the thing is, with these Hebrew names, as with Yahuwah, can be shortened to Yah. Also, many of these prophets with these Hebrew names with Yah in their name, it could be shortened from Yeshayahu to Yeshayah, or Yeremyahu to Yeremyah. And same with the ones that had it at the beginning of their name. Yahuchanan could be Yohanan, or Yahunathan could be Jonathan. And so Yahushua can be Yahshua. And that is how you pronounce the Creator's name in Hebrew and Messiah's name in Hebrew. And I know there are those who will differ, and I will not argue until I'm blue in the face about it with anyone, as I do not believe an exact pronunciation is that critically important. However, I won't just say it the norm just to please people so that I sound normal. I will pronounce it the way that my studies and prayers have revealed that I should speak his name. And so if this has in any way helped you, you can do the same. Again, how can we know that it's a Shua name for Messiah and not Shah as some? First of all, you can't really shorten Yahusha. It'd be shortened to Yasha, and that's just not a Hebrew name. These names had an elongated formal form and the shortened form. We also have other names that support Yahshua, such as Abishua, Malkishua, Elishua, Bathshua, other Hebrew Shua names, as some try to argue against the Shua form. And we have plenty of archaeological evidence to support that was a way, or really the way, that name was spoken around the 1st century. So I can completely relate. It can be a bit daunting of a task when you start to ask, coming out of churchianity, what is his real name? So it is Yahuwah and Yahushua. So when it comes to speaking his name, whether it be between you and him or you and others, don't just pick the most common pronunciation. Pick what makes the most sense and what the Creator leads you to, and stick by it. One thing for certain, these Hebrew letters are not fraudulent, and the name has not been completely lost to antiquity. So, hallelujah, praise Yah.